Good morning. I would like to thank the organizers of this conference. I got to know about it some few weeks ago, it's not long ago. And we thought we needed to be part of it, and I'm happy that they've made it possible for us to be here. I'm not going to say what I had planned to say. I'm going to say what is in my heart. We as South Africans have gone through a settler colonial apartheid system. We know it. We experienced it. And when I went to Palestine for the first time, 1988, I insisted I see both sides. And when I finished, I didn't have to get research to say, this is more than apartheid. And when I said it, I was called anti-Semitic. I wasn't even familiar with the language. It's not our language. We have lived with the Jews in South Africa. They came as refugees as well. We fought together. We were in jail together. They were our lawyers. This thing about anti-Semitism, we don't know. What we know is if there's racism, we can see it. And if there's apartheid, we can see it. I've been traveling around Europe recently, and I observed something. That's why I'm going to say it now, because I'm writing about it for an event in South Africa, is that when we as South Africans look at Palestine, Israel, we see injustice, clear racism, colonial constructs. But when I talk to my European friends, who are some of them very progressive, when they look at it, they see we killed them. That's what comes first. We killed them. So we're guilty. So now we must allow them to kill other people, to assuage our guilt. And when you say, but how can you do that? In my tradition, I call it the second sin. You commit one sin by killing them. You commit another sin by allowing them to kill other people and support them to do it. So I just want to say it is not a mistake that South Africa went to the International Court of Justice. It's costly. You may not know that. We're going to need your support, that we are being threatened for taking that position. And the racists in South Africa have been resurrected with President Trump. They go to Washington. They conspire how they deal with us. And the recommendations are sanctions must be applied against the leadership of South Africa. That's where we are at the present moment. And I just want to say a few things. I asked for that map. I just want to say I like technology. I just asked for it, and it pops up. I just want to say a few things. Firstly, the challenge. If you look at that map, you know where the problem is. You don't have to make a speech. You know where the problem is. The same people who did the resolution 181 in 1948, who were not there, who were colonized, are the same people who don't recognize what they decided on. They wanted to partition it. The same people who support Oslo don't recognize Palestine. You don't have to debate this matter. And the only conclusion we have made is that this is a colonial construct Israel is a colonial construct constructed by colonialists who planned. I've now read more. You know, Oppenheimer going to study that in the 1840s, having a conference, how do we colonize Palestine? It was planned. Actually, I often say, now that I'm in Britain, I mustn't get into trouble. I often say, if the Israelis, Jews who believed in Zionism, because they are not the same, had asked us, would have given a better solution for them to go back home if they wanted to go home after centuries. Would never have given them a colonial solution. But they asked the colonialists to help them. And the colonialists say, like they did to all of us, just go there, kill them, take their land. It's easy. It's a colonial framework. It has no morality, doesn't care about the people you find. Actually, they even said a land without people. What it means is that it's racist. That's all it is. From us as South Africans, this is racist. If there were people and there are no people, it means you don't recognize those people as human beings. And so we are of the view that, we are ready to take a risk. We went to The Hague and we're paying a price. We're continuing with the Hague group. We're paying a huge price. But I would like to really speak to Americans, North Americans, and Europeans rather than their governments, because their governments are their creation. And the sooner we take democracy seriously, the better. That the supply of weapons to kill, to commit genocide, is genocidal itself. And that, in fact, the people who should be charged, because the Genocide Convention, we were not there, by the way, we were colonized during that time. They adopted it in our absence. You had Jan Smuts, who represented South Africa when the UN was established. So we're saying that Genocide Convention says you must prevent genocide. When you see it, you must prevent it. If you fail to prevent it, you are part of it. You are genocidal yourself. And if you do nothing about it, you are complicit. But it's worse if you give Israel arms to commit it. So those who give Israel arms must themselves be charged for genocide. Yes. We need somebody who will go to the court and say all those people who support Israel with arms are actually committing genocide, and we need to end it. And so I'm really appealing to the people of Europe and the United States and, of course, Australia, which is in that package, to say we really plead with you, as you did for us. Remember, we had an anti-apartheid movement that's not comparable to any movement globally I know of. What we need for Palestine is for the people of Europe, the United States, Australia, to say not in our names. You're not going to provide arms to Israel in our names. That's what we expect. Secondly, that the whole of the world, including those who recognize Palestine, that we become part of this global movement. And that's what we met about last year, May. We brought people from different parts of the world in South Africa to say we must form a global movement. It's not going to be And we learned from South Africa that it is people. The same people who support Israel today, look at the map, it's the same people who supported the apartheid system. And they supported it to the end. It is the people of the US who got Congress to adopt the anti-apartheid bill into act. You'll remember, those who remember that time. And then the president vetoed it. And Congress found a way, I don't understand their legal system, to take it back. So at that point, the leadership up to the last moment supported apartheid. Britain was the same. I don't want to go into the history. Britain was the same. But what really struck us, and I want to say it here, is that once we got a political settlement, US, Britain, France sent a delegation to South Africa. They had assisted the apartheid system to develop nuclear weapons. You've forgotten that. Many people have forgotten that we had 6 nuclear arsenals by the time we reached a settlement. We had a bank of chemical weapons, which were also used against me. You can go and read about it, and many of our people died because of that. But they sent a delegation to come and say they want to dismantle the nuclear weapons. Why? Because a democratic country's state, it's about to be established. People have forgotten this. And it became clear to us that this Western world, it's about a racist colonial construct of the world. Because if you are not part of them, you can't own those things. They will bomb you. If you tried, you're dead. But they choose who they want to give the capacity. And they don't bomb them. And so others don't even account to the international fora for that purpose. And so I just want to say, we as South African leadership said, you can have them, take them away. Otherwise, we'd still be fighting today if we said, no, we're going to keep them there. Palindaba is still there as a symbol of what happened. And so we said Africa has taken a resolution to have a nuclear-free Africa. We had just taken that resolution. So you can take them away. They dismantled them and took them to France. The world has forgotten this. The point is, if you construct the world in a colonial way, you end up being racist in your perspective. Let me make an example, and I don't want to be controversial about this. If you're colonized and you react to the colonialists, you become violent and racist. I mean, violent and a terrorist. But if you are the colonial power doing violence against you, it's not terrorism. Let me give you an example which strikes me today, that the settlers can go and kill Palestinians, blow up their houses today. And the media says settlers did whatever. They don't say terrorists. If it's one Palestinian who crosses over and does something, that's terrorism. So even the definition, the language, I was detained under the Terrorism Act. I was tortured under the Terrorism Act. I'm traumatized watching this thing that's happening in Gaza, just watching it. I can't watch a violent film because of the violence that was committed against me. And some of you may not know, but it's even a deacon, white deacon of my church who supervised my torture. And he said he's just doing his job. He didn't see anything wrong. I think the issue about Gaza and Palestine, it's showing for the first time in the clearest possible way that this world thinks in a colonial racist way. It doesn't think that Palestinians are human beings. If you thought of them as human beings, you wouldn't allow this to happen. I can't believe it's happening. I just can't believe it. And in the meeting I come from earlier this week, I actually reached listening to Palestinians speaking. Thank you for Barghouti. I must say the Palestinians I saw 2022 May, same set of people, December 2023, and this week have changed. They are different human beings. And it's very clear, 2022 there was hope the world will do something. 2023 there were doubts. And now when I met them, I haven't talked to you, so we haven't talked now. When I met them early this week, there were a number of them. They're now waiting for death. That's all they are waiting for. They are waiting to die because the world doesn't care. We in South Africa, and I conclude before I do the global thing, we in South Africa got to understand we missed genocide. We just stopped at the point genocide could have been committed against us. And I've now reached my conclusion. I hope the academics will study it. I've reached a conclusion. We stopped before genocide because the apartheid regime was still managed from the point of view of the international law. They still measured them in terms of international law. Israel has been allowed to violate every international law. It's not subject to any morality, any law, nothing. No one after Gaza must come to us and tell us about international law. Yeah, if you do nothing today to enforce international law, don't come to us to tell us that. The point is, genocide is permitted because the powerful don't subject themselves to the law, including those who support them, don't believe that law applies to them, but applies to the victims of society. Thank you.